Welcome, everybody. Michael LaFido. Welcome to another episode of the Luxury Listing Specialist podcast, along with Luxury Fridays. We're filming this on a Friday. We're really excited to bring on a couple guests. But before I do so, again, you are in the right place if you're looking to work smarter, not harder. If you're looking to increase your average sale price, as many people know, there's a lot of downward pressure right now. The opposite of downward pressure is a tailwind. A tailwind is when consumer confidence is really high, interest rates are really low. We're kind of going into the slower market, right? Typically, the holidays, things slow down a little bit. And right now, there's a lot of downward pressure because the Fed has increased the Fed fund rate by 0.75 basis points for 3 consecutive months. Some people are saying we're going into, or we are already into, a recession. But that is the doom and gloom side of things. We're very positive here on Luxury Specialist podcast and on our Luxury Fridays. We do believe life is what drives real estate, right? Somebody's getting married. Unfortunately, somebody's getting divorced. Somebody got a job promotion and they're relocating. Somebody's downsizing, and life is what drives real estate. Those of you that are listening in on our Instagram, don't forget you can always go to our podcast website, which is Luxury Listing Podcast, Luxury Listing Podcast. It's a great place for you to listen to previous episodes, luxurylistingpodcast.com. And for those of you that are interested in our live streams where you can jump on and ask guests questions, go to luxuryfridays.com, luxuryfridays.com. And we're really excited. We just got done with our 5th live in-person luxury designation training just in 2022 alone. And we just announced our 6th in-person training for 2022. It's going to be November 15th. The Houston Association of Realtors is hosting it. It's open to all agents of all brands, of all brokerages. So fly on down to Houston if you want to work smarter, not harder, and get your in-person luxury designation training. Thanks to sponsors, it's really discounted, and we're throwing in a bunch of items, bonus items. You can join me live in Houston on November 15th. Go to luxurydesignation.com. As always, if you're getting value from our podcast, leave us a 5-star review on Spotify, Stitcher, or, of course, iTunes. All right, I'm going to bring my guest on here. I got 2 guests. Sometimes we have 1 guest, and today we have 2 guests, and I'm really excited to bring both Emmit and Tamara Combs on today. They're out of Florida, and I had the good fortune of meeting them. And most recently, they had a luxury event in a 17,000 square foot mansion. They had top agents from their brokerage. They have offices both in Georgia and Florida, and they literally rented out this mansion, and they had me do a full day training there. So can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we do. Thank you.
Well, thank you guys so much. And Tamara, tell everybody about how long did you rent this mansion for? It was literally an incredible property.
Yes, so we rented a mansion in Reunion, specifically in Reunion, in Orlando, and the mansion was rented for a total of 4 days and 3 nights. So we basically hosted our agents who are all over the state of Florida and also Georgia as well for a 4-day retreat, just simply focused on luxury. And we covered different topics. We had the opportunity to definitely present some of the luxury opportunities, the market. We had a full day of training. So again, 4 days, 3 nights, and it was an awesome experience for our entire team.
So 3 nights, 4 days. Sorry, I just had to check on technical. Pam says she can't hear us, but now she can. All right, Pam, you scared me there. So I'm glad you can hear us. Don't. If you guys have a question, please let us know. But I'm glad you can hear Tamara. So 4 days, 3 nights. And today we're going to be talking, and I'm going to ask Emmit a question here in a second. But today we're really covering 2 things with our special guest. Number 1 is they run their own brokerage, and they had me down in August at this amazing mansion that she just described. And in that training, like literally, they did some team building activities. They did a lot of fun things. This house had a bowling alley, indoor basketball hoop. But the thing that I wanted to bring to your attention that are listening to this podcast, watching this, is two things. Number one, this wasn't their first event. So tell everybody about your first event last year. I know you've had other events, but your big first event where you brought in a guest speaker. And Emmett, tell everybody what the thought behind rewarding your top agents was, and how they got the invite. Who was invited? Was it for everybody, or was it a limited number? And what your
Okay.
thought process was on rewarding your top agents by having like an event based, which I think was brilliant.
Okay. Thank you again, Mike, for having us on the show. It's our thought process behind the whole retreat part is it's just about, creating the environment, building confidence, right? Giving real life experience. Most times agents don't believe in achieving a certain type of success or selling a certain type of luxury real estate because they don't spend enough time in these types of homes, right? They don't know the details. A lot of them, probably can't afford, never sold any of them. And it's about creating the right environment, giving the exposure, giving details so they can have more confidence, be more educated about the home itself. Last year when we had our first luxury retreat, the thought was, our brokerage was built on, just really educating, motivating, inspiring, and leading new agents to accomplish their goals, no matter where they started, whether they brand new, and just creating the bridge to the success, right? And to generating the results that they desire. And so the first couple of years of our brokerage, we was able to really build the foundation of a lot of the agents, who started with us from the very beginning, and the ones who stuck around, who are still with us and growing and just thriving. We wanted to not have a limit, being that we were a small brokerage, at least starting out. We didn't want to have a ceiling to where we could grow and where our agents could grow with us. And so we wanted to continue to lead from the front. So we wanted to continue to inspire them to elevate their business to new levels, grow their income to new levels. Sometimes it's not about, making more sales. Sometimes it's about increasing your sales price. And so we wanted to open that door, right, and put them in the right environment. I felt the best way to teach agents that they could get into the luxury market and they could be very successful there. It was about putting them in a luxury environment for a couple of days and allow them to experience what it's like to live there. We had the pleasure of bringing the builder out, the one who actually built the home. And so he gave a lot of detailed insights on the one we stayed in last year. And I felt that it was a amazing experience. Was able to bring some other, people out and speak and give their insight on how they tap into the luxury market. And so I think it was just a great motivation builder, and I think it gave a lot of insight to new agents or agents who are doing well, just never really tapped into the luxury or didn't think it was for them. It gave them the confidence for sure. And, we was able to give them the experience. They were able to live there, ask more detailed questions and just, I know leaving the conference, like leaving the retreat last year, we had three of the biggest production months of our career of having the brokerage. So I seen what it looked like on the back end, what it did for inspiring and motivating. So I knew it's something that we had to continue to build up on. And so we're really big on adding value to the agents for sure. And so it's about bringing the right people in, right, to being able to talk to them to where they can relate. They can relate and they can take the information, digest it, and apply it. And so that brought us to this year and what we want to do here. We want to continue to add different elements, and of course,
And by the
bring
way,
you in.
I have on the screen here the class picture, right? So we have the class picture
Yes.
outside the mansion, and I'll show some other photos. But go ahead, Emmett. Sorry to interrupt.
Okay, no problem, no problem. Yes, yes. Beautiful picture. So that picture was we was outside after the class, outside on the back. It doesn't really show the whole picture, but there was a whole, lazy river in the back of the home. It's just a great experience for them here this year. Last year we had a lot of good training, a lot of different, elements to the training. But this year we wanted to add that real impact value, which we thank Mike for coming out and being able to deliver that, because now they was able to take their real estate career to another level by enhancing their luxury exposure, getting the Lux designation, And so I felt like it was just a perfect, you know, add value, a value add element to a luxury retreat, which, you know, they're staying in this, you know, over 17,000 square foot home, has a bowling alley, basketball court, lazy river, you know, has everything you could possibly dream of if you're talking about, you know, wanting to acquire a luxury home. But it gave them the exposure more so than anything. And we want, you know, we're really big about lifestyle within our brokerage, but more so than lifestyle, we're really big on education. So that was a perfect element to be able to add the education with the exposure in that environment. So it was great. It was great. We
Well,
really thank you for coming out.
you mentioned, within the productive months after your first retreat, right? So this was the second one, the productive
Yes.
months. You saw agents more confident, maybe stepping out of their comfort zone. I say it all the time: grow your knowledge, and your confidence will grow. So you saw firsthand at the first retreat, they had the builder, the developer. They felt a little bit more comfortable being around a big home with amazing product and quality. And this time around, uh, you mentioned very similar. So on the screen, you guys see the class picture there. Uh, there's a picture of me doing some training. This is the family room, if you will. You guys had it laid out perfectly. It was a really cool setting, and you guys had banners of your various agents up, which I thought was really cool. They probably love seeing their face and their name, and uh, maybe they could use those for their own events. They do. The agents got video books that got the designation. Um, was this Randolph? Is this his name?
Yes.
Yes, it's
Our,
RJ Randolph. Yes.
RJ. Yeah, RJ was. I role played a lot, and RJ was the one that he role played a lot with me, if you recall, and that was great. RJ was a great guest, and then here we have both Emmett and Tamara holding up some luxury swag. So that was a lot of fun. So I really appreciate what you guys did there. And we had, going back to that class picture. Let me pull that up. Uh, you got such a great diverse group of agents. I posted the class picture on my LinkedIn, and a young lady that has gone through one of my trainings before said she was so excited to see the diversity in luxury, which I do believe there is a lack thereof, and that's one of my missions. So I commend you guys, you and Tamara and the rest of your staff, on investing in your agents. Literally, I've done some really cool trainings before, but this by far was the best venue where a brokerage had it for their agents as a reward. And so I know it wasn't cheap. So I really wanted to say, hey, let's get you guys on our podcast. Let's talk about this, because, a lot of brokers, especially in a shifting economy, they cut back on their agents, right? And then their agents don't feel appreciated. They don't feel loved. They don't feel like they're getting the training they want. So, kudos to both of you for investing back in your agents.
Oh, thank you, Mike. One thing I wanted to add, I know you mentioned about the criterion, who could be available to come, and for us is we don't eliminate anybody. You know, we don't eliminate anybody because we want everybody to know that you're welcome. It's just all about what you put your mind to and how you believe in yourself and your confidence, right? I know beginning of this year, which was coming out of our retreat from last year. I mean, we have some first time agents, right? Their first deals were multi-million-dollar deals. And so we take, I want to say we want to credit the retreat for allowing the agents to believe in themselves, to be able to, acquire clientele in a higher end market, and just knowing how to navigate that, and knowing how to, you don't have to have all the experience, but as long as you have access to the right resources and you know how to reach out and ask for help. Alongside of that, we always talking about being ready, always being ready, and preparing yourself ahead of time so you never have to get ready. So I think that with the retreat, it helps the agents, get prepared for opportunities. So therefore, they can take advantage of them, and they know how to navigate, the new construction, whether it's the resources for, your mortgage lenders with the jumbo loans, whether it's educating, solving the problems for the financing, getting them approved, right? Or we all run into roadblocks. We all run into hiccups when it comes to finance or even cash deals and trying to source income and so forth. It's about, having a proper education on how to navigate and help people through those troubles, and helping them realize, what their buying capacity could be, or solving issues, solving problems financially. So now the consumers have more buyer confidence in going in buying a luxury property, knowing that, they've created some cash flow, passive income. And so it's not always about, their working capital. It's about, what the passive income was able to help them do. So it's a lot of different elements that go into working with high end clients. And I just think that, when you equip a team with the proper resources, right? They feel more confident taking these buyer consultations for luxury clients and to be able to guide them and knowing that they have a team in place that they can plug and play. They can plug their team into their resources, or plug their clients into their resources, and their team represents where they're going as well. And so, therefore, it all connects the dots and it helps them become very powerful, and confident agents.
Well, I couldn't have said it better. So that Emmett, you're exactly right. Right. If you're more confident, you get more hungry. You step out of your comfort zone more. You might do some lead gen, some prospecting, some networking in those price points and those zip codes you've never sold before. And I see agents come out of their shell after coming through trainings all the time. So I commend you for that. Again, you're listening to Michael LaFido here, episode 212 of our podcast, Luxury Listing Specials Podcast. It's on iTunes. Thank you so much for listening. Episode 212. I got both Emmit and Tamara Combs here with Combs Premier Realty. Again, I want to ask Tamara a question now. Tamara, tell me a little bit about, within your brokerage, and I have the URL up right now for everybody to see. They can check it out. It's a gorgeous website, by the way,
Thank you.
combspremier.com. Within your brokerage, and you kind of touched upon this already, but a lot of major franchises, the big ones, you know, they don't offer training and support with luxury. They might have a different logo, maybe a different sign, but you guys obviously you invest in your agents. For you and Emmett and your company's philosophy, tell us why you do invest in having training and support when it comes to those luxury clientele. Now, Florida, there's a lot of upper price point homes, so it might just be, hey, they're in our backyard. But why did you guys and when did you start shifting? Say, you know what, we want to service everybody, but let's make sure we have the support and the branding for luxury.
Right. So a couple things what we've noticed is number one is the opportunity, right? So the opportunity for us as a team and for a brokerage was to leverage the fact that there was a gap, number one, and number two, we wanted to focus on growing our luxury division and also our luxury sales as a whole. So, after we witnessed and we understood that opportunity, we decided that we needed to go out and figure out what resources we needed to better educate our team about the luxury market and how we can do that. So simply just based on that one big opportunity that we've noticed within the past couple years,
Mm-hmm.
for us, we like to think big, we like to do big, and we like to dream big. So we just figured out how can we execute against that,
That's
right?
great.
So we took a shift in our focus, and that shift was to create an event and create the experience that would provide that for our team and also for the brokerage as well. So as Emmett had mentioned, I mean, it's definitely opened up a lot of doors for us. Even for the first event that we did, we did notice an increase in our sales for the last three months of the year last year, shortly right after the event. Not to mention, I know we like to talk about confidence builder and what the event has done for our team. We've had a couple agents that have went back out to the property to do, luxury listing showcases where within that one specific community, we've had agents that went out and filmed at the multi-million dollar property that they never thought that they would be able to film at. So, I mean, again, it's just understanding that opportunity and then understanding how to tap into that and just how to execute against it. To be honest with you, it wasn't I guess you can say like a cookie cutter route for us to take as far as how we wanted to execute against what we found to be an opportunity. But we just figured out ways to kind of navigate and try to figure out, okay, how to tap in, how to, execute and how to move forward with that.
So thank you. Very thorough explanation. Uh, Have you guys noticed, and I'll bring Emmett back on here, have you guys noticed your average sale price as a company increase over the last, 12 to 18 months from having events and investing back in your agents?
I'll let
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. We've seen the increase in sales price, but I think when you put agents on a platform like that, and we sort of educate them along the way. And so it's a different experience from with agents who see what we're doing on a day to day and how we're able to create these opportunities because they see things on the ground level. And it gives them the confidence that, like, okay, this is achievable for anybody. It's about having a goal, reverse engineering, bringing in the proper resources. And when you do that, for one, we like to let them know that, look, all eyes are on us, right? We're creating an event for your experience and your education, but while we're creating this motivation, or while we're creating this movement, like, all eyes are on us. So you need to utilize this moment that we have a lot going on in the luxury realm. We're doing a lot of things here. You need to reciprocate that by being able to put out things that project where you want to be in align with what we're doing right now. So all it does is it sparks the interest of clients, right? It sparks the interest of clients, and also it brings attention to them. And so the ones that really want to get into the luxury, they gravitate to the training, what we're doing leading up to the retreat, right? And so then after we start seeing a different type of clientele, and we teach them, about understanding how they know that they're growing their database, how they know that they're increasing their income, because we make them appraise their database, right? Give a lump sum of appraisal of their database. And then once they start seeing the value of their database starting to increase, then they know that the potential outcome of them leveraging and getting into the luxury market is starting to go up. So, it's just about who they're communicating with on a daily, how they're adding higher net worth individuals into their database. And it also about, doing the things that attract higher net worth individuals. And so all of this, anybody in the high end market, they want to deal with educated individuals who can add value to them.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
most luxury don't want you to be the first, the first transaction in the luxury market for them. But in most cases, even if they are the first, if they know you've taken appropriate steps to educating yourself, you're putting yourself in different environments. Now that opens up the door for you,
Yeah.
for people to give you an opportunity, because they know that you're equipping yourself with the right tools to be able to help. And in most cases, you can use that to your advantage. And I know you spoke about this at the retreat, but you're not bogged down with a lot of different clients. You can give somebody their undivided attention and really add value to them. And I think a lot of agents who have been able to capitalize and use this retreat as a momentum builder, a lead generator, and also eventually closing on the first $1 million deal, like, they've been able to take that and then utilize that to be able to engage and turn leads into transactions. So it's been a phenomenal process to be able to see. And I think that, again, as the agents start to utilize the process as a lead generator, right, and be in line with where we're going, then they're able to reciprocate the benefit of what we're doing even before they receive the education. So, like, a lot of times people look for instant gratification, but in most
Right.
cases, it's a delayed gratification process, and you have to keep building and working towards your overall goal.
They're looking for this, aren't they?
Yes, and looking for the
You
easy
know,
route.
everybody's looking for
That was easy.
the easy button, but it doesn't happen overnight, does it, Emmett?
No, sir. No,
A
sir.
couple
It
things
doesn't
I
happen
want to
overnight.
circle back with. First off, I want to share. I mentioned their website earlier, but this is their website. Gorgeous website. Again, combspremier.com. Just not just a good looking website, but simple. Talking about lifestyle. Uh, there's a lot of big buttons that's mobile friendly. Uh, there's who's that good looking couple right there? I think I know them. Uh, so just they got the team, they got the Orlando team on here, the Miami team, now serving Atlanta. Uh, so again, you got video. So just a really good looking website. I want to commend you on that. One of the things I
Thank you.
talk about is a fresh eyes analysis. So, you guys have a great website, buyers, sellers, search, contact. You got some swag, just like, we got some luxury specialist gear too. See it on the bottom of the screen right now. We got swag just like you guys do. So, hey, I love that. Now, one thing that you brought up, and I'll bring Tamara back in a second, but one thing that you brought up was you challenge your agents, to look at the value of their database. Talk to me a little bit about that. So let's keep it simple. You got 100 people in your database, past clients,
Hmm.
current clients, maybe just people you're close with if you're a new agent and you don't have any past clients. Tell me how you value your database.
Well, what it does, it breaks down your simple day process. And when you value your database, that's really appraising your database, right? Looking at the net worth of individuals in your database and who you're talking to on a daily. Because if you want to increase your revenue, if you want to increase your price points, if you want to really get into the luxury, then you need to really monitor your daily conversations and who you engage with on a daily. And so when you focus on that, you change your activities, you change where you are, because now you're starting to be places intentionally because you have to be there to meet people. And sometimes we build our day and our activities around our comfort zones. So we avoid a lot of places that intimidate us. We avoid going to, invites or going places where, it may challenge us, right? So we may actually meet somebody who wants to buy a multi-million-dollar place. And a lot of times in our mind, and I'm speaking for agents who have probably never sold a luxury property, or never worked with luxury clients, but it's like we know where we need to go, but we obviously don't be in the right place at the right time, or we don't put ourselves in a position to create those relations. But when you start focusing on your database and the value of your database, and if you know that, okay, if your average database is between 3 to 500,000, now okay, if I'm going to increase my database, my first question is, where do I meet higher net worth individuals, or who in my database have influence, right, to high net worth individuals? So then you start doing things differently. So therefore, you start putting yourself in position to where your names are being spoken in rooms that you have not entered yet, or you're invited to places that you need to be at because you've been speaking, right? You've been speaking where you want to go in real estate, or you've been showcasing where you want to go in real estate. So now people know that you need to be there in order for you to continue to build. And as you appraise your database, you start to look at people differently, your conversations differently, and you make it intentional, right, to get on the phone with people, to create the relationships, to increase the value of your database, or even if it's by one person, right? So you say, if I want to sell a million dollar property, I don't have any million-dollar net worth individuals in my database. So when you start to meet those, you start, you put them, of course, in your A list database, and you start working those leads differently. You start building a business model around those individuals in your database to be able to create the results you want in a higher net worth led database. But it takes focusing on that database and understanding the value, and you're right, and then you start building a business model around those individuals, and then your daily activity is going to be different as well, because you're going to be intentionally going places and putting yourself in the position to continue to bring more people in your database that matches where you want to be price point wise.
So I love that. So we teach agents to segment their database, right? A, B, C,
Hmm.
right? The A
Yeah.
clientele, not by necessarily price point, but you have a great relationship. They're more likely to give you a referral. They're, you know,
Hmm.
they're they're well connected. The B are really good clients, maybe not going to give referrals as much just because they're more introverts or that's not their style.
Hmm.
The C clients is everybody else, if you will. But you're talking
Yep.
about appraising your database to another level as well. In other words, what's the price point of the home that they're in, right? And or and that's a unique angle that I haven't heard before. So I like that. That's why I wanted to come back to that. So really good. See, hey, I'm like a sponge, man. I'm learning too. I love that. So that was really
so
cool.
so look, to add to that, let me clarify, right? Because a lot of times when I say appraise your database, you think, oh, you only need to be on the phone with people who are going to buy $1 million property. that's not so. It's about understanding the value of the people in your database and what connection and relations they have. So if I say an A-list buyer for me and I'm really trying to elevate into the luxury, then I always tell agents, well, you need to be on the phone with one person who's a multimillionaire, who has a multi-million-dollar database. And so sometimes, it's just about establishing new relationships with people who are already elevating and executing at the level. Maybe they're not the clientele of your liking or your fitting, but they
Mhm.
have the influence to the clientele of your liking and fitting. So therefore, they're valuable to your database, right? And so it's very important to build relationships and understand who you talk on or who you spend. I always tell agents as well, appraise the last three people who you talked on the phone with, right? That did not have any connections to your business. And so when you start to praise those last three people, then you start to understand where you're going. Because if these people are not, are not elevating at the level that you want to be with, and I always say like vibrating on a high frequency, then you're not going to elevate to that level
Yeah.
either. So you have to make sure that you're getting on the phone with people, who's going to change your mindset of things, who's going to, give you feedback, encourage you, not going to, when you give ideas, they give reasons how you can, really excel those ideas to another level, right? You have to have people who in your circle that you're communicating with that's elevating your thoughts, your ideas, and mindsets, and then you'll start to realize that more and more people who you're being connected with have a higher net worth, whether it's personally or a higher net worth database that you can leverage. And so understanding how to leverage those people is not always about taking, right? It's about being able to find out how to add value to those people. So therefore, it's a genuine relationship.
Great point. That's a great point. And I'm going to get Tamara on here to add to that. I have on the screen real quick an amazing $10.5 million home that I represented some time ago, and that was a referral from a guy that worked at the health club, and he borrowed my box truck when they had to move equipment, and if probably lives in a $350 to $400,000 home, but he referred me a $10.5 million client.